are eating dinner. The neighbors are watching TV. The neighbors behind the walls. The neighbors behind the doors. They know Maine from television. They do not remember your name and surname. Simplest office clerk who goes to his office at 7:30 a.m. every working day. Level 7, turn left. Then turn right. The doors are closed. Do not even try. Do you hear voices in this empty hall? Do you know sounds of this afternoon? The neighbors are eating dinner. The neighbors are watching TV. The neighbors behind the walls. The neighbors behind the doors. They know Maine from television. They did not remember your name and surname.
The show will begin in 2 minutes. The show will begin in 1 minute. And now, our feature presentation. Hey everyone, sorry about all of that. This is what I get when I decide to schedule a live stream from my phone while I'm waiting for the train. So, yeah, lesson learned. Anyway, I decided that I'm going to try to go live on Sunday nights now because I've realized that I don't want to have my proper videos turn into really long ones because I want to go on about the entire outing. So, may as well just do it live, fresh in my memory because I got back, I got off the train less than an hour ago now. So there's that. Yeah, I am also cutting back on the workload because I really want to go on my adventures. I don't want to just stay home constantly. And I feel like a jerk for setting up that live stream, promising it in the, what is it, in the morning. But hey, we're here now. Lesson learned. Don't set up the live stream after, from your phone. So yeah, we will, I guess I'll start talking about the trip, well, trips plural, yesterday and today because I finally checked out the AMC on Causeway Street. For those of you who aren't in the greater Boston area, Causeway Street is the street that the building that contains the TD Garden, North Station, the AMC I just mentioned, a Star Market, this place called The Hub, no connection to The Hub. You know which one I'm talking about. The one where if you're caught watching, you could just say you were looking for the sports channel. That's a SpongeBob joke. But yeah, that's where I went straight to when I got to South Station yesterday and a morning and this morning. I went from the subway to get morning snack at one of the Dunkins there. Yesterday morning it was this one that was right off the street. There are literally 3 Dunkins within walking distance of the North Station subway exit. There's the one, no, there are 4. There's 2 within North Station alone. One past the gate, and then one outside of the gate. That's the fare gates. And they're installing them in South Station right now, but basically, there are these gates where you have to scan your ticket just to get into the area with the train, which I suspect is part of their crackdown on fare evasion, so at the busiest times they don't have to have a conductor check tickets. Literally everyone on board will have had their tickets checked by the machine, and rightfully so, I'd like to add. But anyway, I learned that I can finish a medium hot cocoa and a Boston cream donut on a walk from Causeway Street, whether it's North Station or this one off to the side, like at one of the side streets, or the Causeway Street Dunkin' on the outside. I can just pick up a Boston cream donut and a hot cocoa. Pro tip, do the survey and have them email you a QR code where you can get a free donut with the purchase of a medium or larger beverage. I have 3 right now that I can hold on to for either later in the week or next weekend, and then just keep getting more because, again, I can just do the survey and I can get a free donut with every beverage purchase. Well, yesterday I went to the museum before my movie because I could, and I'm starting to suspect that after I said about Thursday's video about probably being really busy because of the federal holiday on the second Monday of October, it was pretty peaceful in the museum overall. I was able to actually sit down and do some of the interactive exhibits, including, but not limited to, this morning I did this skull identification activity in the Natural Mysteries exhibit. Oh, yesterday I actually did the engineering programming game where basically you set up this robot mouse to go into something and collect gems. Like you had to select what tools to give it for each thing. You can only use each tool once. But yeah, it became impossible to do level 2 because they didn't have enough of the tiles that were necessary. That, or I just couldn't figure it out, and my intelligence is up for question. I would prefer to think that they are probably missing a piece or two, but I digress. It is what it is. I'm just glad I was able to sit down and actually do some interactive exhibits at the museum before it became crowded. One of the benefits of going basically right after they open. Oh, and I saw their 4D movie, The Squirrel and the Bear. I was absolutely right. It turned out there was no educational value to this movie whatsoever. I'm not kidding. It was just a 15-minute animated short about a squirrel and a bear who kept on changing into a different species depending on the environment they were in. I'm guessing you could probably argue that shows the different natural environments. Yeah, it was decently entertaining though, and it was fun to go through the 4D experience where when the squirrel sneezed into the camera, you got squirted with water. When they were underwater, bubbles came out. Like actual bubbles came out into the theater to simulate being underwater. Yeah, it's a 4D theater is a very interesting experience. As long as you know going in what to expect, I think you'll have a good time though. As I mentioned in my video about Adult Night at the museum, my friend and I had a good laugh when the Animal Kingdom show had us get poked in the back by our seats. Yeah, it does that. Well, anyway, on Saturday, after The Bear and the Squirrel, I went to the live animal presentation, and it was a boa constrictor. And I waited until after the presentation when all the kids that were there asked their questions. I brought up that the boa constrictor was the same species of snake that Harry Potter unleashed at the zoo in the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone for those of you in the UK. So there's that. And after wandering around for another hour or so after that, I walked back to Causeway Street to go to the AMC Boston. No, yeah, no, AMC Causeway. When I got there, I was like really surprised by how little they had people working there. They had someone checking tickets at the first level, but then you had to order your food through the kiosk, which I am not personally against because I am not a technophobe. I think you can make the argument that it's not a good idea to limit how people are able to order their food and drinks as well as their tickets. Like, it's good to have some human cashiers, but at the same time, I can understand long term it's going to take over, so I think it's best we all learn how to use these self-ordering kiosks or ordering online because, again, I am no technophobe. Well, I ordered my stuff. I ended up getting a soda instead of an icy because I got a hot dog for lunch and I was going to replace my popcorn with a candy or nachos because they're cheaper than the regular popcorn, and I get the regular popcorn price as an A-lister when I buy a large. But regardless, I wound up sticking with my popcorn and the whole two drink solution. I think next time I'm gonna get the pizza because of something I'll get to later. But as it is, I had my hot dog, while while the previews rolled, and I ate most of my popcorn. I didn't finish it before the previews because I ordered the buttery topping, which I never usually do at Boston Common because it's self-serve for that particular part of it. Yeah, I guess I just wasn't used to the flavor, but I don't know. Maybe I should have gotten the candy or nachos and it would have been cheaper. I'm going back there next Saturday, the next 2 Saturdays actually. Well, actually the next three. I have no intention of going back to the Boston Common AMC until The Running Man in IMAX. Or who knows, maybe I'll just stick to Causeway and leave it at that because it is way easier to just go to the museum first thing in the morning, go around the exhibit halls for 2.5 or 3 hours, depending on how early my movie is. Or I can go to the aquarium and take the subway from there when it's time because with it getting dark out earlier and earlier now and the clock's about to fall back, as they called it, I'm gonna have to choose one or the other first thing in the morning, and then either take an early train home, the first one I possibly can after my movie, or basically go right after lunch on Sunday, or take the one that's timed so that when my when I get home, my mom is about to leave for bingo, if not already gone. But yeah, Roofman was entertaining. I really enjoyed it. It was honestly kind of sad that I had the whole theater to myself. I guess maybe because it was in its second weekend, and at that point, a lot of the people who wanted to see it had already seen it. Or maybe it was that Causeway is a less popular destination for movie going, or at least on a Saturday afternoon. I don't know how it is on the weekends. I should have asked the guy at the concession pickup how busy it got at night because at day it was kind of dead. I expected it to be a little busier being in a major part of the city. Maybe it was those protests that were going on that were keeping other people from going out. I mean, like I said in another one of my videos, I decided to go to Causeway this weekend because I didn't want to be at the Boston Common with the protests going on right across the street. But again, more importantly, Causeway is a 15-minute walk at most from the Museum of Science. That's definitely an important factor for me. So I could go to a morning show at the 4D Theater or the Mugar Omni Theater. Not really for the planetarium, if I'm being honest, because the earliest anything of interest for me is playing there is at 11:30, as the one I went to today started at. So, yeah, I rushed to the aquarium on the subway and I just made it so that I could get a ticket with my member discount to the 4 o'clock show of Call of the Dolphins. And then after enjoying that, I went into the aquarium because I had to wait until at least 5:30 to walk back to South Station to get my train and have a late dinner at a place that's within walking distance of the train station that I got on my inbound train to that morning, and I got off at and walked to that place, and it was so much more out of the way than I expected that I decided, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go to this place for dinner on these outings anymore. Maybe it's more of a place that I walk to if I have extra money. I decide I really want pizza because that was the reason. See, I would just go to the Regina Pizzeria at South Station, but it's not open on weekends. I checked. So I got a ride home from there. And then the next day, today, I walked over to the Dunkin' next to the inbound train stop. And then I got on the train where I got into the city. And I basically did the same thing I did on Saturday, except I didn't load up my Charlie card with fare this time because I had I loaded it up with 10 rides worth of fare on Saturday morning in the name of getting it, having the option to take the bus and subway up to the museum or aquarium on a weekday because that is cheaper than the commuter rail, believe it or not. Well, I went to the museum this morning. I decided I'm gonna go see one show at every immersive theater they have there and the one at the aquarium because I don't have a movie at AMC because I used up all my A-list reservations for now, meaning I have to wait until after my next movie or cancel something if I decide I need to book something else. But hey, at least I'm set for the next 2 Saturdays. And then after this Saturday's movie, I am going to reserve my Back to the Future re-release ticket for Sunday. And then, as I go, reserve the next Saturday, and so on, because I have Wicked for Good reserved on the 22nd, and the Wicked re-release on the 16th. So basically, I have to wait until after the next 2 Saturdays to completely reserve through the 8th, and I have to wait till after Back to the Future 2. I mean, Back to the Future re-release for to be able to reserve the 15th. And so on. You get the idea. Well, today I went to see Animal Kingdom again, because I wanted to see it at least one more time before this Rudolph 4D movie takes over both the slots for that and the squirrel and the bear. I'm like, really? Does this actually have any educational value? Also, why is it taking over both of those slots when I can understand having at least one that's a little less of a educational value, comparatively speaking. Though, personally, as a member, I'd like to see all of them be educational. Like, I want to learn something, like how at Undiscovered Worlds, which is another one I'd already seen in the past, it's the one where that they did a free screening of before Space Week screening of The Martian. This time there was no special guests, it was just the movie itself. It was great. I sat in the back row of the planetarium and you could actually see the entirety of the dome from the back row. So there's a little pro tip for you. Between that and the Heart of New England for my Omni Theater film, I went to see, no, no, I went to the Riverview Cafe for lunch. I decided to try their deli sandwiches. You could just have your own custom made. I ended up spending $18.49 after my member discount on that, a bag of chips, and a can of Dr. Pepper. So, yeah, definitely gonna cut back on the immersive theater shows so that I can just pick up and leave and go to Blaze Pizza or McDonald's or something. I don't know. Just go somewhere where it won't cost me an arm and a leg for lunch. Okay, I could have gotten the pizza that came out to $9.11 for that and the soda after my member discount. But I had pizza for lunch, I mean dinner the previous night, and I decided I wanted to at least try their Riverview Deli, and I'm sure they use really high quality ingredients as they brag about on the website. But honestly, I think 18.49 is a bit much to regularly pay for lunch. So I'm gonna try getting back to McDonald's and I'm going to save immersive theater shows for if I decide I have enough time, I'll buy the ticket for that when I'm at the museum because I can. See, a little thing I'm hesitant. The reason I recommend waiting until you actually arrive at the museum or the aquarium or the zoo to buy tickets is because they're non-refundable. I'm going to explain more about why I completely understand it is like that in a video I have planned where I follow up my video, everything has a cost, by pushing back against other creators I've seen talk about how the resources of the earth should, quote, be free because they come from the earth. Which, spoiler alert for my upcoming video, they are not free because they involve a level of work to actually be usable. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm also going to say that The Heart of New England was probably my favorite Omni film recently because it blended all the great things about Boston and such with things about with actual science, unlike the squirrel and the bear. Because I learned about how alewife is actually a fish, not just the name of, I think it's the inbound destination for the Red Line. Let me put it to you this way. On one end is alewife, and then the other ends, there's a split to either Ashmont, where you transfer to the Mattapan trolley, or it goes all the way to Braintree through Quincy. Either way, I learned that alewife is a fish, and that the waters around Boston and such were a lot more polluted than they are today. I still wouldn't rec- I would still advise against trying to drink water straight from the Charles River or anything like that. Again, do not drink water straight from the Charles River. It's still not that clean, and only 1% of all water on Earth is drinkable, by the way. Yeah, there was also this great story about this woman who moved to Boston because she loved the city, but then she lost her leg at the 2013 Boston Marathon. And that's actually where I started to tear up a little because I break down crying within the first 20 minutes of Patriots Day every year because of that. If you don't, you know the subject material, go watch Patriots Day. It's an amazing movie. But yeah, I was really inspired by it described how it depicted the resilience and the revolutionary nature of Boston and New England as a whole. You let me know in the chat or the comments if you're watching this later, if you feel like you see that in my content, because because I've lived in New England my entire life. You know, I really loved how that Mugar Omni film depicted my home region. But after that, I walked back to North Station for afternoon snack. I decided to get a something else from Dunkin' so that I could reach boosted status, and because I hadn't taken the survey that morning to get the free donut, and I wanted to get a bottle of water. Then I went to the aquarium for the 3 o'clock movie so that I could make it so that I only have one movie left before I can say I've seen them all. And from there, and when I got to the theater after getting my ticket from the information desk for both the movie at a discount, and then my free admission to the aquarium itself for afterwards, ended up spending $5.78 with my member discount on a can of smart water from there. I just downed it in like 10 seconds. Yeah, nearly $6 for that. God, why did I do that? Pales in comparison to the overspending I did while I was waiting for my train, but we'll get to that in a minute, and I had a better reason for that than I just needed more water right now. Well, I went to see Secrets of the Sea. It was nice. But the way my mind wandered sometimes started to make me realize I do need to cut these trips a little shorter, at least on Sunday. Or rather, I have to do everything I want to do before my Saturday movie. And on Sunday, take the mid-afternoon train home, especially because the sun is about to start setting earlier now. And I gotta get to the closest stop to where I live. But anyway, I went to the aquarium, wandered around, took more photos and videos, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm always a little paranoid about my phone's camera flash going off, even though I know I have it turned off. I'm scared that my thumb will slip and turn it on, and then I will have used flash photography at a place that says no flash photography for good reason, because it frightens the animals. And I, for one, do not want to get kicked out of the aquarium because I accidentally turned on flash photography. On top of the fact that I don't want to startle the animals. Like, I really hope that anyone at the aquarium, if that does happen, that happens by accident. I really hope that the people at the aquarium listen to me, I explain it, and I promise to show them that I turned the flash off, and that it won't happen again, and that they'll be okay with it. But if they have to kick me out, I won't take it personally. But since I've gotten my money's worth for my membership based on the number of visits, let's just say I might be more inclined to go to the museum, or I'll have to figure something else out. But yeah, I'm just a little paranoid. I know that as long as my thumb doesn't slip, I think if I just keep my fingers away from the flash symbol in my phone's camera app, I should be fine. But yeah, it's just something I'm scared of seeing happen somehow. Well, after the aquarium, I walked around a bit trying to get to a Sal's Pizza that I decided I didn't want to go to because even though it said it was open to the public despite seeming to be part of Suffolk University's campus, which isn't really a campus, it's just a bunch of buildings spread throughout the city. Like there's the residence hall right next to the Boston Common. I saw Move-In Day there when I was at the Boston Common on the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So I can safely say, yeah, Suffolk. Whoa, 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 YouTube. I did not say the F, I meant Suffolk. Suffolk. Suffolk University. Suffolk University. I can't unhear it now. Ugh, why did I? Now I'm just bringing more attention to it, but Suffolk University and Emerson College, I'm guessing a couple of other ones, they all have their buildings spread out throughout, like, downtown. It's so confusing to me. I went to a college that had a dedicated enclosed campus. I mean, it's great if you enjoy that. Well, I was a commuter because I do not believe in the concept of residence halls, but that's a topic for another day. Anyway, I went to the I wound up going into the back to South Station on the T on a subway train that really I could have skipped, saved a little bit of my preloaded fare, and gotten back to South Station sooner, which is where I discovered that Regina Pizzeria does not operate on the weekends at all because I saw a guy doing prep work there this morning. So I thought maybe they would be open when I get back. No, it wasn't. I ultimately signed up for the rewards program for Auntie Anne's and decided I'd get pepperoni pretzel nuggets and marinara sauce and a lemonade there to treat as a pizza, if you will, or a pizza substitute. And I decided to get evening snack there at the same time because I wanted to make sure I could come do this stream. And I'm starting to realize that wasn't a great idea because I'm probably going to end this stream at 8 o'clock because I don't really have much else to say. These live streams recounting my adventures over the weekend are kind of a replacement for the videos where I would do that so that I can do pre-recorded videos that are more focused. Maybe I'll go with a consistent release pattern that makes it so I don't have to do much on the weekends for YouTube beyond just getting home and doing this. And I might do it earlier if I take an earlier train, or I might just stick to 7 o'clock consistently because even if I start a really long movie rather late in the afternoon, like Wicked, the re-release of it, at 2 o'clock on a Sunday. Okay, I need to look at my calendar to see what time that ends at because the AMC app, when it adds to the calendar, automatically calculates the end time. Oh, and I have adult night coming up as well. Okay, I can make the same train that I took tonight after that. Cutting it a little close, but I can make that train. I'm just gonna have to make sure to have pizza for lunch beforehand because, well, I know that Regina Pizzeria isn't gonna be an option. So I ended up spending $30 at Auntie Anne's. Now, I do have a total of two free pretzels now, one being the welcome one, the other being points redeemed. because it auto-redeemed the 250 points. But still, at least I had the money in the budget. I did not go over budget, thank God. Well, on the train ride home, I took the surveys from the 3 Duncans to stockpile the QR codes. I think I might limit myself to take the survey while I'm at the one next to my inbound train, and then redeem it when I get to Causeway Street on the subway or wherever I decide to go. Maybe I'll have decided that I've had enough of the museum or the aquarium and I have a movie at the Boston Common AMC and decide I want to hang out around the Boston Common. Not that I think that's all that likely though, because the only movie I have I'm considering, well, actually I have Wicked Part 2 reserved at the Boston Common because I want to see that in IMAX, but you know what? Maybe I should go see that in Dolby instead because there's a showtime that starts an hour earlier. I should probably go do that. Change that. Because I haven't gone to a single Dolby screening since I started going to AMC. Well, maybe I'll change it to Causeway instead and not worry about format. Because Movie Scout told me that the priority is more about timing with Movie Scout than choosing which format to see it in. So I guess I could start just taking the first show of the day for what I want to see and go from there. Hey, if I decide I only go to Causeway now, I literally could not be tempted with a different format. But hey, part of the reason I changed the Saturday movie to the theater experience was in the name of being able to go to these premium format screenings. Well, anyway, my dad gave me a ride home because I wanted to get here earlier so that I could set everything up, which unfortunately, as you probably saw, I did not get everything set up properly. And I learned the hard way I need to have set this up. I had everything figured out ahead of time if I wanted to do this. I should not have just set up a stream on my phone while I was waiting for my train. You know what? I'm just gonna wrap it up here for the video. I mean the live stream. Thanks for tuning in or watching the playback. I'll see you soon.
No thing. Level 7 from left. No thing. Level 7.